Hey, what's going on? This is Andre Sweeney, the Life Specialist. Welcome to the Get a Life Show, the show that gives you the tools and principles necessary for an outstanding life. Today's segment is called The Bread of Life, and today I want to talk to you from the subject, I am so glad God didn't answer that prayer. Listen, as Christians, as saved people, we have our petitions before God, and we pray earnestly. We pray feverishly that God answers our prayers, and many times we're disappointed because we think we live right, and we think that we have this place in God, and we don't understand why He doesn't answer our prayers. But I'm here to tell you, there are some things that you ought to be excited about that He did not answer. Now, I'm going to share with you a couple things that happened to me in my life, and maybe they'll resonate with you. Well, the first one was when I was 18 years old. I wanted to marry this girl, and I am so glad that God didn't answer that prayer. First of all, I was young, I was dumb, I was stupid, I was not a man, I couldn't be a husband, I was not prepared to be anybody's husband. That is needless to say what she was. Listen, had I married her, we would have totally ended up in divorce court. I am so glad that God didn't answer that prayer. I wanted to marry her bad, I thought I was in love, but God had enough common sense for me, since I didn't have enough sense myself, not to let that happen. And so I'm glad He didn't answer that prayer. Another thing was I was about 15 or 16, and my father got a job offer to be a pastor at a church in New Jersey. And I really wanted this thing. I had been in Flint, Michigan my whole life. I wanted to move there. But God didn't let that happen. I prayed, I wanted it to happen, but it didn't happen. I thank God for purpose and destiny. Because had I left Flint, I wouldn't have met the woman that I met. Had I left Flint, I wouldn't have the pastor that I have. I wouldn't have the resources. I wouldn't have the divine connections. And part of being blessed is being in the right spot at the right time. It's not just going where you want to go, but it's being where you're supposed to be. So I thank God that He didn't let that prayer happen. Another thing that happened was when I was a homeowner. I had a house. I didn't understand mortgages, and I had an adjustable rate mortgage, and my mortgage jumped, and there was a $400 increase in my mortgage. Well, I prayed for God to let me keep that house, and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, but God knew that that house was a source of stress for me. It was a money pit. Everything that was going on financially with me was going down the hole because this house was too expensive. I thank God that He got me out the situation and didn't let me keep it. I didn't have enough sense to say, hey, I can't afford this. I was going to go down with it. But He had enough sense for me. The last thing is my marriage. Now, in 1997, I met my wife. We got engaged in 1999. Well, things didn't work out. I was praying God bless us to go ahead and get married. But there's something about God's timing. You can want something all you want, but if it's not in the timing of God, you can mess it up. Well, that didn't happen. We ended up getting married in 2003. And in July of this year, we would be married for 8 years. And I thank God for His timing. I thank God that He didn't let it happen when I wanted, but it happened in His timing. Now I can sit here and say I have a successful marriage, and now I can counsel other couples how to stay together because God didn't answer that prayer. Look, there's two reasons why God doesn't answer some prayers. Sometimes He wants something different than you want. Just like Jonah in the Bible. Jonah did not want to go to Nineveh. He didn't want those people saved. He didn't want God to have mercy on those people, but God wanted something different. It didn't matter how much he prayed. God was going to make sure he got where He wanted him to be. That's number one. Number two, sometimes God doesn't answer the prayer, and it's not apparent why He doesn't answer it. Sometimes you'll never know why He don't answer it. Just like the Apostle Paul, he said, I asked God 3 times to remove this thorn from my flesh. God didn't tell him why. He just simply said, my grace is sufficient for you. There are some things that you want, and there's not going to be an answer, but you have to trust God to believe that He knows what's best for you. This is Andre Sweeney, the Life Specialist, and I'm here to help everybody to get a life.